We finally are live. Yes. Okay. So welcome to the base program overview. Keith Taylor and I really have a lot of passion and desire to support and help everyone who suffered a stroke and aphasia to get to the point where we are. It took a lot of hard work and effort and just time, and time and compassion for yourself and empathy for yourself, and it really was a really tough, exciting road, because I don't want to put all negative on it, because to the point I am today, I'm very, very, very happy. So we're going to be doing this every first Wednesday and third Wednesday of the month at 8 o'clock. And we really hope that you'll tune in and join us, because Keith has created such an incredible program. And it really teaches you how to regain your confidence, strength, energy after a stroke. And of course, I always add an aphasia. Those qualities are something that we both lost when we first had our strokes. I find it like I was lost. I was in the unknown. I didn't know where I belonged. My brain was scrambled. And I was really sad and really in a lost place, and I was scrambling and all over the place, and I kind of learned the tools and the strength to recover. And I would say I'm 95% recovered fully. My physical is a little bit off, but that's okay. I think God keeps my arm the way he keeps it, Keith, so that I always remember the work I have to do. So I don't go back to being the way I was. But most everybody, I hope everybody knows my story, but I really want to bring Keith to the forefront, because Keith is really the one that created this program. It's so important. So let's start out with Keith telling us a little bit about his story, so we can really set the foundation for this. I know that if people have watched my show, you know Keith, and you know his strengths, and you know his desires, and his great work he's doing with Strength After Stroke. But this program is incredible, the base program. So tell us a little bit, Keith. Welcome. I'm so excited about doing this with you.
Well, thank you so much. And again, let me just say thank you, Renee, for what you do. The journey that you've come on is amazing, and it sets an example for a ton of people. And your heart is in the right place. And I don't see you at 95, 99%. I don't. I absolutely don't, because frankly, I feel like you had a new beginning when you. I mean, we don't see it in that time. I know that, but as we look back, we can totally see that as the new beginning, and also almost as a gift. Almost. I mean, I honest to God believe that within myself. So anyway, thank you so much. So. Oh,
you're very welcome.
My name's Keith Taylor. I had a stroke in 2010, and I was a business owner. We had a pretty good sized manufacturing company that we had grown, and I thought my retirement was all dialed in, and I was all set to go down that road and get my retirement checks after a while, right?
Well, last night I had a board meeting, and someone said to me, Renee, one of the things I learned from you, and you're gonna like this, Keith, is I learned that life is about plan B. Life is never about plan A. Life is never about the plan that you have. Life
That's
is
right.
about plan B.
Yeah, sometimes C, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah,
Anyway, so like I said, in 2010, then I had my stroke, and it was a tough deal. I was home with my wife for quite a few months, and finally I kind of started going back to work part time. And of course, think about this now. My company, I was a sales manager. I was one of the owners, and we had these four arms. We had manufacturing, and we had customer service, and we had finance, and we had sales, which I was a part of. And we were all four partners of this company, this multi-million-dollar company, frankly. And so we would go have these business meetings after these few months I was home, and then I'd started back again. And I can remember sitting in these meetings, and it would go around, and we'd always, we'd argue, and we were all passionate about our arm of this business, right? And so I just remember after my stroke and finally getting back into that, around me, and I would just start crying. Tears would just start rolling down my face as we were having these business meetings. And it was just so embarrassing because I couldn't communicate, I couldn't say what I wanted to do for the company and to grow the company and everything. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for the company and me. I did a bunch of different things within the company for a while, and frankly, it didn't work out. And now, to the benefit of the guys, my ex-partners, they're not bad people, but I had to leave the company in order to get disability insurance, and that's what happened there. But it hurt pretty bad. It was a tough deal. And my wife, we had moved, we had done all this stuff to try to make it work at my company. My wife had a great job because we lived, 40 minutes from the company because I was in sales. I went all over the place.
right, right.
And so then she worked another 20 minutes past that. And so for her to work and everything and be right where the company was, it was tough. I'm sorry, I'm getting long-winded. I don't mean to do that.
No. It's important for everybody to understand the struggles that we had, because I don't want people to log on and view us and say, well, they look normal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we look normal today, but if you would have seen me 30 years ago or 20 years ago, every day I grow, every day I develop. And let's talk about Keith, because this is really one of the pinpoint life's lessons that everyone has to learn. It's right. That it really takes us to do the work.
Absolutely.
It really takes us to do the work. So let's talk about that a little bit, because we wouldn't be here unless we were open for guidance and education and angels in our lives to teach us and to help us to grow and develop. We couldn't do it by ourselves. Then we're going to get into why I believe that this program is profound, is the good word, for families and friends. But let's talk about the fact that our stroke friends have to kind of get to want to do this on their own. They have to want to do this on their own.
Well, so first I would start by answering that question, Renee, like this. I've done a lot of stroke survivor meetings. I do that every month, and I was at one of these hospitals recently, and there was probably there must have been 25 or so. And I asked the question, how many of you stroke survivors in here were told that you have a year and a half, 2 years at most to get better? And 80 80 to 90% of them raised their hand. And so to me, I'm very, very passionate about this thing.
Right.
Because I was told the same thing. And Renee, I bought into that for a while. I really did. And it took me back. And the message that I want to give people who are listening to this is that you can grow. You can have a great life after stroke. You have to work your butt off, okay? I mean, you have to work at it. Yes. And if you're not willing to work at it and you just want to sit and watch TV all the time, listen, I watch my share of that too, but I work too. And you work, Renee, I know. And you have to work on yourself. And
well, let's get a little bit detailed, okay? When we say we have to work, give us 3 examples of things that you've had to specifically work on, because okay. You know, you stay to a stroke family member, because that's what I like to call them. They're our family members now. They, you know, nobody wanted to be in our family, but they're in our family. And you know, we say you have to do the work. Well, I remember back when I had my stroke, I would have looked at you cross-eyed and not knew what the heck you were talking about. What work? I don't know what to work. I don't know what to do. I can't even think straight. Never mind tell me to work. So aside from that, that's where the profound family members come in. But I want to focus on, give us 3 examples of things, simple things every day that I'm sure this program that you developed teaches them, because I know that's why I strongly support this program, because like I said the last time we did this, that it really is a foundation, a basis to helping to recover. And you could look at this program every month and grow from it and develop from it. And God, within a year or 5 years, 10 years, you look back and you'll be amazed at the growth that you have had. So give us 3 simple examples of things that our family members, stroke family members, could do to develop, do to work.
Okay. Well, let me start by going from the bigger outlet and coming down a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
You know, BASE is about belief, attitude, strength, and energy. And when I talk about strength and energy, those aren't, you know, getting up and lifting weights and all that stuff. It's about mental strength. Now, the belief part. If you don't believe in yourself and you're not willing to believe that you can get better, you know, that is critical, okay, in my opinion. All right. And so I know it isn't necessarily a thing you can grab and do. I will say this, in the program, okay, there are modules that every person works on. And I'm just going to give you a quick example. So
give us one of those modulars that they could use, right, in working on themselves. Is that a module you have?
Yes. Yeah. So it's telling a new story, and it talks about limiting beliefs. Okay. Well, we all have these limiting beliefs, okay, that we've grown up with or whatever, and then you have a stroke. And after having a stroke, you are depressed a lot of times. You don't think you have anywhere to go. You feel like, is life over? I mean, I stood in front of a picture window and I seriously, Renee, thought about ending it. Okay. I had plenty of life insurance. I had all these things. And I thought to myself, here's my wife babysitting me. Okay. And what good am I? Is she going to be better without me? And I'm going off track a little bit, and I'll come back.
No, like I said, it's important for everybody to understand and feel that we have been there. We understand it. We have empathy. We know how they feel. And the next program that we're going to do on the third Wednesday, we're going to actually zoom in and let everybody zoom in and talk and conversations and support. So we want to hear from them. So it's important that you tell your story. So go continue.
Okay, so and it was during that time that I thought, wait a minute, you know, I can help other people, and I've got to, you know, grab myself by the bootstraps, and I've got to get going and help people. So I again, I kind of went off, but it's about believing. Number one, you've got to believe in yourself.
Wait, I want to go back to something, Keith, because you were talking about wanting to end it, and you had insurance, and so what was the pinpoint moment that changed your mind with that? What was it? Why all of a sudden did you wake up? Because it is an awakening to discover. What did you discover about yourself?
Well, it wasn't so much about, well, I guess you could say it was about myself, but what I really discovered was I said to myself, wait a minute. How many people are going through this same thing that I'm going through, yet cannot find a program that helps you in the mental state of getting your belief back and getting your confidence back. Right. That was it for me. I was like, I'm going through this. I'm about to, you know, end it. And then it was like, wait a minute. There's other people who are going through these same things. And, you know, I've always been the type of person, Renee, who I do help people. Okay. And even in my sales job, I mean, that's how I did well with that, was because I'm not always just focused on myself. I'm focused on what can we do to help them the most, right?
Right.
And so I think that's where that focus came from. And so, is that answering your question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So then it was like, okay, so wait a minute, there's nothing out there that can help me gain confidence back. I mean, yeah, we can go to therapy and you know, of course the doctors are awesome, but they don't have time for us, frankly. And that's okay. That's what their job is. But, you know, I just met with a neurologist the other day, and he said, you know, that's one of the things. I don't have time to sit and talk to stroke survivors about, you know, what's going on. I'm in the medical side of it, right?
Right, right.
For me, it was mental. It was like, what can I do to get myself going the right direction again? Not physically, but mentally. And that's what started this. And that's why I started looking for ways. And there's a story with that too. But
so let's go back to 3 examples, simple examples that I'm the stroke survivor, and you're going to share with me 3 simple examples that I can work on myself.
Okay.
What 3 examples would you give me?
Well, these aren't necessary modules. Okay, the modules all follow this guideline. But let me say this: A, you need to have a goal of getting better. That's number 1. Simple, right? And there's lots of that in this program. Then you've got to be able to let go of some of those disbeliefs that you have, not only A, about stroke survivors, but B, about maybe old your old ways, the things that we grew up with. You know, when I grew up in a small little area, and I love my parents to death. I think they're awesome. And they are, but you grow up knowing a certain thing. And if you allow yourself to know that you can continue to grow and you can continue to develop whatever it is that you want to believe in long term. That's number two, okay? Because you got to know that you can do it. You've got to know that you can change your mind and continue to grow, right?
So what would I like? I know there. I'm just playing the stroke patient, the stroke victim, not the stroke victim, the stroke survivor, and I can't. If you told me that, I guess I would just need to figure out like mantras, maybe mantras, like something that I could say over and over and over and over and over and over, so that you got to fake it till you make it. You got to keep saying it. And I forget what book I read in, because I read a ton of books, and I actually am a life coach as well. That it said, like, even if you can't believe it, you keep saying it, and you just keep reminding yourself of that. And even something simple like a rubber band on a wrist. Like when you say something you shouldn't say, you pull it. So it's like, oh, like, no, I take that back, like I'm not doing that anymore. So, go ahead. I know I spiked your brain.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And I can prove for myself, and what I've done, I was just looking back at my journals, because, I have these journals, and I write almost every day. Almost every day I journal. And in those journals, I also have set a goal sheet, okay? And I do look at it. I'll bet you I look at it 4 to 5 days a week, okay? Yep. And I am a firm believer in what you are saying.
Right.
And whether it's a Band-Aid or a rubber band, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, whether it's prayer, but you have to do it. And you need to set some goals. And that is a big part of what's in the program.
Right. The program probably, and I just began to look at it, but it actually is, and I keep saying this, it's the foundation. It's something to keep you focused, something that, as a stroke survivor, we don't have those abilities to zero in on things that could support us. And wait one second. And, and our family and friends are wonderful, but, this one says this and this one says that, and they're all loving and they're all kind, but where are you going to zero into that's going to help you to stay focused? And that really is one of the keys to being successful at recovery.
Absolutely. And once you go down that road and you start going down that road, then things start opening up to you, and all of a sudden you start finding what it is that your true desires are. But in the base program, it's about consistency. And one of the things you talked about was, you set these, you don't really know, but the base program is yours forever. And one of the things that you're going to want to do is go back through it after you get through and you set some goals and you start the actions that you need to take to get you through that. Then you'll want to go back through and you'll want to reestablish that. I mean, I look at those things, all the time, and not that I'm not anything great, but what I'm saying is
you are great because you are great because you've done a remarkable thing in creating this program through the gift of love. You did. You are. I wanted to comment that because you're doing your work, and that's really important. So
thank you. Well, I feel really great about it because before I had built this program actually a couple of years ago, and the program was just in a PDF format. I mean, it's a book basically. It's and so I sent it out and people would purchase it or whatever, but they weren't getting the impact. And so finally, I did some research on that, and I heard and it was from stroke survivors as well, this research. And they came back to me and said, it's awesome, but it's too much. It's too much for me to go through. And that is why I've spent the last, probably 4 to 6 months building these modules. And so that now it's easy to watch, and you can do it one module at a time. Each module is, 10 to 15 minutes, and there's a workbook or worksheets.
Right, right.
3 to 5 pages for every module, so that
Right.
then you can go and you can do the work and you can take your time and get better. That's
right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about let's talk about the belief, building your self-importance. Let's talk about that one. Because, they're all, first of all, explain to us where the base came from, the title. Where did that aspire from?
That's a great question. Let me think back.
Once in a while.
Strike one. Because no, I was trying to come up with an acronym, frankly,
Which is a good one.
Yeah, that kind of set a foundation. Because it's like, look, after you have a stroke and you're going through all this, excuse me, but you're going through all this crap and you're trying to figure things out. And I was like, what is that? And so base is what fit, because it is, I believe, truly the baseline for your growth after having a stroke. I really, honest to God, believe that. And so that's kind of how the name came up. And so then it was, put the words to it, belief, because, it's about building confidence. And what do you got to have to build confidence? You got to have belief. You have to have the right attitude, right?
Right.
It is strength. And strength, like I said, isn't so much lifting weights or anything. It's mental strength. And then energy. Of course, we all got to have enough energy to get through a day. And I don't know about you, but there are days I still nap. Quite on, yeah. But it isn't about going from A to Z in a day. I think we have to be aware of our body. And a lot of times, a lot of stroke survivors, I see this all the time. I'm kind of going off track, but they think that, oh no, if I take a nap, I'm giving up. No, you've got to let your mind heal. And a lot of times it takes the rest to get that mental ability to go again.
Well, even if you think about those of us that have suffered from aphasia, initially, it's really important to let your mind rest so it could settle. So everything can defragment, everything could go back, and it's never going to be the same as it was, but it needs to settle into place. And sometimes when people suffer brain injuries or suffer a stroke, they're put in an induced coma so that their brains can rest and settle. And the fact that it takes that this happens at the onset of a stroke, it really is something that you need to continue to do on. And in my research on a life coaching path, and that's what I love to educate and to inspire people, is that I've learned that rest is really, really, really important. You're really supposed to get 8 to 10 hours of rest a night. It's so critical because it allows you to get up and you're at peace, and it allows you to focus better. So all those types of things really help you to recover and to have a better lifestyle.
Well, and one of the things you just said, and we'll get back to these. I want to kind of go through my stepping stones, but
Okay.
one of the things that you just said keyed me into something. It isn't going to be an overnight fix. We had these friends come visit us this last weekend, and even though we're being very COVID protective, right?
You have to, but you have to start to grow a little bit. You have to, increase your family a little bit.
Right. And this friend said to me, and we've known him quite a while, and he looked at me and he said, "You know something?" He said, "This is the first time since I've been, since your stroke and since we've been coming together, that you haven't apologized and or said, 'Oh gosh, what was I talking about?' or anything like that." And so my point on this is it does get better as long as you work at it. And I didn't have a clue. I had no clue he was going to say that. And to me, that was a huge pat on the back. Yeah.
Right. So
and so I found passion. I'm working towards something. Anyway.
Well, you're growing. You're getting better, and and that's what it's great about you. And the truth is, what I've learned in my life is not to be so critical of ourselves. Especially when I first began hosting TV shows, I had no idea what I was doing. But I was at the point in my life where I knew I had to look like I knew what I was doing. And that wasn't done as being fake or being untruthful to anybody. That was an inner work that I was doing, right? That was me trying to hold my back up and say, no, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. And I had to keep telling myself that.
You put yourself out there in a big, big way, Renee. I mean, you have done so much. It's incredible. And really, and we all get judged at certain times too, right? But you have done what you're doing and stayed the course. And I want to just commend you for that, because that is huge.
Thank you. And I'm humbled by it. But I always remember why God gave me the second chance at life. And that is to provide for others hope, that there is hope, that if you suffer a stroke or you suffer aphasia, or you suffer any illness or any loss in your life, that we want to bring hope to you, because without hope, what are we doing on earth? I mean, honestly, look at what's going on in the world, the coronavirus. Yesterday we had a storm, come through. I don't know the name of it. It was too off the beaten path. But the winds and it took down trees, and it ripped trees out, and it ripped roofs off, and it, like, in one split second. So if we're not doing the goodness and kindness, and we're not being nice to each other, we're not being kind to each other, we're not serving our fellow man, then I don't know what other people are doing for themselves. I don't know what other people want. How many cars can you have? How much money can you have? And it's nice, don't get me wrong. It's nice to have that comfort. That's what I pray for all the time. Just, Lord, take care of me and just give me enough to just feel a little secure in my life, and I'll keep doing the work for you. But it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard life. It's a hard life.
One other thing that what you're saying brings up in my mind is that, I've noticed, it's not just stroke survivors, right? Everybody goes through some kind of challenge in their life. And some are worse than others.
Yeah.
But everybody has challenges, and you've got to be able to find your way and get back on track with what you want out of life, and not give up. Yeah. And so, yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah. I mean, people have to, I mean, and let's go back to the, what we're doing here, this base program really is, I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, feel that it's the foundation that people and families especially, like, I know you wrote this, Keith, to help stroke survivors and aphasia survivors, stroke survivors mainly. You wrote this to help them because you needed that. So that's where inventions come from. Inventions come from the need and the want and the desire to have something that nobody has. And you say, well, if it's not out there, I'm going to create it. I mean, look at the Shark Tank, all the time.
Yeah.
But I really, the more we spoke about this and the more we keep communicating, and you said it to me before, it really is something that families and loved ones and friends, and you don't have to buy it for each one of you don't have to spend $97. One family can share that $97 program, and it's worth millions of dollars for many reasons. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sell it. I'm saying this because I wholeheartedly believe in the product. I really believe in this foundation, this base program, that it first of all, it's a foundation for your recovery. It's something that you could take at your own pace and learn and grow. You go back, you can constantly read and see new things in it. It's like reading a book. When you read a book, you go back and you find something new in it anyway.
Right.
And then, the families, I mean, you're providing an online support group for them now. That's something that, okay, they come up with a question about it. They don't need to email you. They can email you, but you're giving them live support via Zoom. You haven't set that up yet, and I would love to be on those, but I'm just saying, so for $97 for the rest of your life, you could invest in something that your families could help you with, and your families and the loved ones could really learn what it takes to help someone recover properly and in their own time. There's no timeline for any recovery.
Right. And one of the things that family members really struggle with is, and they're awesome, and everything, but if you haven't had a stroke, it's really tough to understand. And you and I don't even understand a lot of times, but, there's a lot of stuff that's in there that, people, listen, I didn't tell my wife a lot of stuff for a long, long time because I didn't want to feel like I was weak.
Right.
And so, I've started a men's group. I have a men's group. We meet, and you know what? It's open if anybody wants to contact me or whatever, wants to join our men's meetings, that's fine. But anyway, we started doing that because there was a need. Men and women are different. We both know that. We agree with that. But and it's not to pick sides. It's just that guys have a problem with getting out of their own way a lot of times. And
well, I asked you this question last time, and I just think it's important to bring it to the forefront again, is there's no difference in this program for men and women. It's a program that was created for both men or women, because it's really, and that I wanted to say this before, that I think there's another side to the title, the base program. It's really the base, right? Did you come up with it because it's the base of the foundation?
Absolutely. It's the, I call them one and the same. It's the foundation to where you can build, you can grow and build yourself.
Right. And it kind of leads to basic, which is not too extravagant for those of us that have suffered strokes, because strokes, like I said before, and I will say it until someone's loved one, that they understand it, is we're so lost. I think that's the word that I want to use for people to understand. Did anyone ever feel lost? And one day when I was talking and doing a keynote speaking, I was talking about taking a glass and it falling all over the place. And that really is how I felt. And then I looked down and I had to pick up all those pieces to the puzzle and put them back together. Oh my God. Like I needed to put all those pieces back together. How on earth am I ever going to do that? But I had to unknowingly, because at that period of time, I didn't know that I was picking them up very slowly and other people were helping me. And eventually I put them back together, not in the same fashion that I was before, because we all need to be new and evolved, no matter whether you have a stroke or not. You need to grow. You need to be evolved. So it doesn't matter whether you're a stroke survivor, a cancer survivor, just someone that develops, someone that lost their job. It doesn't matter, but you need to take a step back and you need to grow and develop.
Absolutely. And I love that analogy. I think that was a perfect analogy because, you're picking up the pieces and you don't realize that you're rebuilding that glass bowl, whatever it is, but right. You are. But you've got to be willing to pick those pieces up and put them somewhere, Yeah. And, yeah. And I know I kind of harp on that, but I don't mind doing that because there are a lot of folks out who, $97 is, whatever. But there's a lot of people who won't work at it, and I put myself in a corner, but it's a truth. If you're not going to work at it, whether it's this program or just on your own, man, you got to do it. You got to do it.
But sometimes, in defense of our loved ones who suffered a stroke, sometimes, and this is what I shared with you last time, is, we don't know how to get there. We don't know how to get there. And that's why I think it's so important for families and loved ones to know they play a really important key in recovery. Yeah. So, share with us about your wife, how she helped you and how she loved you through it. That's what my phase is. Love them through it. Don't expect them to develop and to just go back to normal. You have to love them through it. You have to love them.
Well, and I appreciate you bringing that up because one of the things that my wife did, and I would suggest your listeners, especially if somebody just had a stroke or they're in the close stages of it, when she went back to work, there was a lady there that her husband or her dad had a stroke, and her mother just took over and did everything and talked for him and did everything for him, and he was just a lost soul, frankly. And so my wife said, that's not going to happen here. And so she is a strong advocate for, let them learn. Sometimes you've got to be quiet and let them find their words, and it takes some patience, it takes some time, but please let the stroke survivor find his way. You can help them, but just don't take over for them.
Right. And I always talk about Dominic Cortellessa because I finally figured out what his what's the word I'm looking for? His divine intervention was for me. It really was that bridge from me transitioning from a stroke patient who I was okay. I was living my life, but I didn't have those tools in my belt to when I got weak or I got challenged, I would crawl back in the hole and I wouldn't face it. I would go away and I wouldn't deal with it. Where Dominic slowly and gently showed me how to get those tools in my belt
Yeah.
And the thing that he didn't do for me was he didn't do the work. He made it very, 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 if I say very too many times, let me know. Very, 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 very hard.
Yeah.
He made it. But one thing I knew about him is he always had my back.
Yeah.
If I fall, he'd pick me up.
Yeah.
Dust me off. Okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are we going to do? And he would ask. He wouldn't tell me. What are we going to do with this that we have here? And if I couldn't figure it out and give him the answer, he would go, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. You think about it. He would make me do the work.
I
He
love
would
that.
make me do the work. He would never make it. So when I finally, I know I speak in the God language all the time, but when God finally had me finished at this position, I knew it was time for me to spread my wings and because I worked with Dom at a location. I knew it was time for me to spread my wings and to start to use those tools I had in my belt without him being there.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it gets hard, and sometimes I text him, I need a Dom fix, and he goes, no, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. No, you're okay. You're
I
okay.
love that. I
Like,
love that.
it's just a support. And I just interviewed my softball coach, Pat Talaferro, who was a divine intervention for me when I was very young. And I'm going to show the interview in a while. I'm working on my book, Extra Inning, and my movie, Extra Inning. But I just showed her, and she was the same way. She would always have a positive attitude. It's okay. No, it's okay. We could do this. And you tell her, no, it's okay. We'll just do like she had such, and wait until you see the interview. Her personality, it was just perfect. It was just perfect. So my point in all that rattling was that sometimes we don't understand how to get there. We're lost. We are lost. And we have to always, I know you have it, but we have to always understand and have empathy for those and just keep loving them through it, telling them they could do it, supporting them, and hopefully they'll find or will be an angel in their lives to help them lift up, to help them lift up.
And having said all that, one of the things that I truly believe in is having a coach as well. And
Yes.
I have, two now that I have, and frankly, I pay for that. But I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm just saying having a coach, somebody who, you can, I got lucky. God sent this guy to me. It was, anyway. So I believe in.
But that's the truth. You need to have, and in my world, I just think you have to hear things in different tones.
Absolutely.
You can't hear things in the same monotone, the same vocals, the same voice. It's almost like a song. You have to hear different variety of songs to understand and the quality of the song and really appreciate violins and the drums and the horns. And you have to really be in tune with all that. And you're listening to an orchestra and then you hear the flute and you go, oh, that's the flute. Like it grabs your attention. So different variety of voices you listen to sometimes.
And it helps you find your way.
Absolutely,
because you've got to exactly right, Renee. You've got to hear all that, but you've also got to know that you can make the choice for yourself, and you're going to find your own way, whether it's listening to the flute or a saxophone or whatever. But you're going to find your way and make your life great. For you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say something. Oh, I also have a counselor. She runs Light the Way Counseling, and it was the only way my sister can get me to go a long time ago was because she prayed when her business And we begin with prayer and end with prayer. And so my sister said, go pray with them. So that's the only reason I kind of went.
Yeah.
And it turns out that I go once a year now, whether I need it or not, because I just want her to know where I'm at, what I'm doing. It's almost like a doctor checkup, so that she can know, she could store in her brain exactly my levels and where I'm at. So if I ever do come to her with an issue, she already knows the back end stories of it. And that really is important, like a doctor, to do that. And I'm sure that if your insurance or someone, you could probably get that covered from somewhere or something.
Yeah, probably. Especially in today's world, when we had and of course mine was 10 years ago, yours was a long time ago, but a lot's changed since then, thank God. Because people can get a lot more help, therapeutic help and stuff these days, I think, and I'm very glad to hear that. It's made a huge difference, actually. Yeah. People. So going back to the belief stage, the stepping stones that I have are, telling a new story. That's one, and it's basically it says, what you believe about what we believe about ourselves is ultimately true, right? So we've got to practice releasing those limiting beliefs. And then another stepping stone is inspired to be like three before me, where I take and I have people actually think about, okay, who has gone through something very challenging and yet they stepped up and got through it, and why? And what did they do, and how can I learn from that? How could I put myself in that place and I could start doing stuff that way for myself? Because believe me, we're not the only ones who've had challenges in our lives, right?
No.
And then let's see, from valued to values, I say, because really what it comes down to is what does matter to you. And it makes you think about the qualities and your core values and beliefs and things like that, and start putting some of that stuff on paper so that you can have it to look at, and you can remember when a choice comes to you, oh yeah, does this line up with really what I value? Am I going the right direction? And to me, that's a big key as well. And so then you put these statements together through that process.
Keith, I want to bring something up though, because this is really important. Like, it's almost like going to church, right? We go to church on Sunday. I go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And but the rest of the week I just do whatever I want to do. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
That's right.
Right? You go to church to, to visit, I mean, in our world, to get the Eucharist and stuff like that. But it really takes a lot of courage and a lot of discipline and a lot of consideration and really to be authentic to who you're supposed to be.
Right.
And that really takes time, not to be so quick with your answers. That was something that Tom shared with me. If someone asks you a question and you don't have the answer, then you just be honest with them and speak from your heart. You tell them, I don't have the answer right now, I'll get back to you, rather than splooting out a bunch of stuff that really doesn't mean anything or is not true to who you are and what you value in your life. And I got to tell you, that really is a hard road, because sometimes when you're true to yourself, it's not what other people want to hear. And it really is hard.
Yeah, well, for that reason, and also the ego reason, so number one, like you said, it may not be what they want to hear. And so if you've got a compassionate heart, you may not want to say that, but you've got to stay true to yourself, especially after having a stroke. And I mean, life is only this much. while we're here on this planet. So let's make the best of it. So absolutely that. And I lost my train of thought on this.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. I'm the one that gets you off track because my mind starts going, you know. you about belief, attitude, strength, and energy.
Right. Well, and within each of those, there's these modules. Okay, there's these stepping stones that we do. And so
Do you have a modular in front of you by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so which modular do you have in front of you?
Well, so this is the first module. It's about releasing limiting beliefs. So this is just the front. You know, these are PDFs that you get with it, and these are chapters basically. See if I can do this.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, and then in each one of those, and there are actually, I think I had told you a fib. There are actually 15 modules in this thing.
There's one bonus. There's a bonus one.
We won't tell anybody that I just forgot.
No, it's bonus.
But, so this first one is about releasing limiting beliefs. And so what you do is you know, let me get this right here.
I think I have it in front of me. Replace the statement with positive declarations that give you power and responsibility. Wow, that's important. Release the statements with positive declaration that give you power and responsibility.
I'm missing a page here because, yeah, so what you do is first you start out by, and I'm missing a page, but first you start out by writing down the limiting beliefs that you have. Things like, you know, gosh, I can't do this. Gosh, I can't do that. On and on and on. And then what you do is you go through and you release those limiting beliefs by saying, hey, I know I have what it takes to reach my goals. I know it's going to take hard work, but I know I can get there. You know, I've got so much to offer people. I've got so much to give to the world, to my family, to whatever. And those are just some examples of that, right?
Right.
And so in each one of these, I want you to take your time and I want you to actually write the statements out, however you do it. If you record it, I get that. And then at the end of that, we have an action sheet. So I'll just read a little bit. Now you're going to consider some of those, some simple actions that you can reinforce the positives. I can do this. It's an I can mindset. Whenever I catch myself in negative or limiting beliefs, I will start my self-talk. I will stop and replace it with positive statements. Every day I read books that challenge me to grow, you know, and so on and so forth. That's just an example of one of the 15 modules that are in there. And the other thing I'll just say real quick, Renee, is what I don't want people to do is get this and think, okay, day one, I'm going to do this, day two, and they're going to burn through it. It's about growth. It's about taking your time, doing a good job, you know, really thinking through. If you got to skip a couple of them, skip them. Come back.
Right.
It's about gaining your confidence back. It's about gaining your self-worth back and getting back out there.
And we're living examples that you can recover. And I don't want anybody to think that we're the height or the expectation. You need to recover and you need to grow in the best that you could do. The best that you could do. I said it in my release the other day, I forget which one, about winning, you know, my extra inning. You know, I'm in my extra inning in my life. What am I gonna do with that extra inning in my life? And I put that, necessarily, I don't need to come out on the winning number end of that game of my extra inning. What I need to do is the best that I could possibly do for myself, the best that I could do. And
Right.
if I do that, then I've already won. And that's something I learned from Pat Talafero. She, just do the best you can do. I'll never forget when I interviewed her, she gave a story about a girl that was on her team. She was a last batter. She wasn't a good hitter, but Pat always picked someone because of their attitude and them being a good person. And she was telling me something the other day when I was talking to her, that the way she would pick, this is very interesting, the way she would pick players for her team is not to watch the kids necessarily when they tried out, but to watch their parents. Because that was the guidance of how that child was going to be. Were they someone on the sidelines inspiring their kids to do the best they can, or were they someone on the sidelines giving their kids a hard time?
Yeah.
Which, and she never picked the ones that were giving them a hard time. She always picked the ones that were inspiring, and because those are the kids that she wanted to motivate. Well, there was she's incredible. So there was this one athlete on the team. She was the number 10 batter, and one time she got up and hit a double. Pat stopped the game, went out to second base and shook her hand and said, "Congratulations, great job." She wanted to seal that moment for that girl so that she could forever remember that she was as good as everybody else.
Oh my gosh. And to this day, that girl thinks of that.
Yep.
I believe it.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the moments that we want to give to stroke patients. Sometimes, like, I love the fact that you came up with these modulars, because if you get this big book, what are you going to do with that big book? Oh my God. But now they're in small modulars, and you could do one, you could do two, you could do one a month, you could do one a week, you could do one a day, whatever feels right to you. Exactly. So you could grow. And the fact that you have supporting them, they're not just selling them something and letting them, leaving them out on their own. You're being a dominant cordelessa, and you're supporting them on that road to recovery, which is
thank you.
Incredible.
Thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I wanted to be sure and say this because, and we're going to be doing this, so yes. People are going to know. I'm not trying to, but before I forget, some of the things that you get with this program, though, you get the 15 modules, and the worksheets for each module. You get the full book too, the workbook. That's I want to say I've pared it down to 75 pages or something. You get that, and then one of the things I'm most excited about is I'm going to do a I forget which term, twice a month.
That's like we're doing the show, twice a month.
Twice a month I'm going to go on and do Zoom or some kind of recorded thing, and I'm going to go over things and open it up to the people who are on there and teach and train them. And that actually they get that for a year for free. Wow. As well. And I'm very excited about that. So yeah.
That's good, because that way we can learn how we can craft and be the best support we can be, because support groups are not about hearing from the leaders so much. It's about hearing from the participants, that what they need and what they yearn for and what they long for, how we can help them.
Absolutely, because I think we are in a position where we can spend some of our time doing those things now, and that's really important for me. I know.
So let's spend 5 more minutes and then we'll zone out.
Okay.
So talk to us, I think, as you just did, but we're going to be doing this every first and third Wednesday of the month. Initially, we're going to do it kind of chatting on Mondays and giving lessons on Monday, and then really having the support group on Wednesday where everybody can kind of zoom in. I'll send out the Zoom, and whoever wants to zoom in can join us and talk to us and really educate, as a support group, So, we're just beginning this. If we need to change anything, we'll change it. We're open and for growth. But I'm really excited about working with you and bringing support, because I know, together, we're great apart, but we're absolutely wonderful together. And I'm not talking about you and I'm talking about in general, when you group together with people that have the common mind and really want to bring the goodness to the world and to the better and to the people, then, together it's a better thing.
Yeah, and I think we can help people, and of course that's where your and my hearts lie, frankly. And otherwise we wouldn't be doing this.
That's right.
And we do want to help people.
So on the next one, next training, you said values to values. Talk a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit what we're going to valued to values. Talk to us a little bit about that. Give them an introduction, because I'll use it for press so that they could know what they're going to be a part of. And I really hope to God that people see this and share this and just know that we really want to help. We really want to help.
Okay. Well, and I don't have the documentation in front of me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that's okay. Really what it comes down to is, what matters most to you. And you're gonna talk about the qualities that are most important to you and outline your core values. And that's not easy to do, right? For a lot of us. When you talk about, if I were just to ask you, what are your core values? I mean, would you be able to spit them out, or?
I thought you were talking in general.
Well, I am, I guess.
I guess at this point in my life, I'm 57, I think I am. I don't even know how old I am. 31 years after my stroke, because my stroke happened at 26. So I guess I would be able to share with you my core values, because I'm finally to the point where I know my direction I got to go in. And I know what my purpose is in life. But it took me to 57 years old to be able to say I almost understand it. And the other thing, it took me 30 years after my stroke. So if somebody is new and fresh at experience a stroke, because to me, a stroke on the medical side, it is something very serious. But in my world, I think that people should look at it like an experience that you have to go through, that you get through, and then you get on the other side. And what are you going to do on the other side? You can't really long and hold on to that stroke. And I told you this last time, Keith. People said to me, don't say it's my stroke. But to me, there's flip sides with that. Yes, I don't want to hold on to my stroke on a negative way and feel sorry for myself and use my stroke as my crutch. That I'm not going to do. But it is my stroke, because that happened to me, and I'm proud of it. And what I'm doing with it is going to change the world. So yes, it is my stroke.
Absolutely. No, yeah, that's right on. I was looking for that module, and I haven't found it, but basically, what it is we all value certain things in our lives. And when I say from valued to values, I'm talking about, we look at ourselves as a valued person, right? Whether it's our job or whether it's at home or whatever. And what we got to do is, and this is opinion, but I feel like you need to start from a values standpoint. Whoop, can't see that. Because when you get your values and you know what your values are, then you can make better choices as you go along, like we were just talking about a few minutes ago, right? When somebody asks you to do something that you're not sure you should do, but you do it anyway because you just want to be nice or whatever. And I'm not saying being nice is a bad thing, but if it doesn't line up with your values, you just took a couple of steps backwards.
Right. Right.
That's how I believe. So, once you start getting that all in line, things are going to flow much better for you as you move forward. So I guess that's
I look at it like, I think people need to switch how they look at it. Okay. Rather than taking something that someone says to you and you're answering them not with your value, maybe you should take a step back and say to yourself, well, let me think about this, right?
Yeah.
Let me see, it doesn't line up. So maybe I'm being tested. Maybe I just need to hold my back up, like me. I need to hold my back up, and I need to say in a kind way. It doesn't mean that you need to be a negative or sorry, or you need to cry, or you just need to have this affirmative feeling. And Dominic used to say to me all the time, speak from your heart. When you speak from your heart, people listen, and they'll have empathy and they'll listen to you. And there was an actor, not an actor, I forget what his name was. I loved him because when he first got into the industry, I'll think of his name and I'll let you know. But he first got into the industry. They asked him. He was getting this huge promotion on this wonderful movie, but he had to work on Sunday, and that was against his ethic. That was against his values. He went to church on Sunday. He couldn't be a part of that movie, not if it was going to be working on a Sunday. So he turned it down.
Yeah.
He turned it down, but of course, because he kept his back up, he did it in a loving, professional manner. They turned the shooting around. They didn't shoot on Sunday anymore. They shot it. So sometimes when you stand up for your ethic and you stand up for your value in a very kind and loving way, and you speak from your heart, things will shift in the world.
Absolutely.
And they'll come back to you.
Absolutely. I totally believe that. And whether they changed it on him or not, it was the right thing to do. And because he made that choice, it opens up other things. And that was a great story. And I believe that too.
Yeah.
And it takes hard. I mean, I was a sales manager for this company, and we had, there were 4 of us, and there was a lot of give at times, and you did things that you didn't necessarily agree with sometimes, and
Right.
And that was the culture. That was that business culture, and I feel very strongly now about doing what's right, and I feel like we're doing what's right now.
We are. As long as we keep doing what we're called to do. Sometimes you don't know the bigger picture of what's happening in the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe God is setting us up he's watching us, or maybe some people are watching us and they want us to keynote speak or to inspire those that suffered on strokes on a bigger, broader network or whatever it is. But we need to do this to get to that point so that we could broaden our network, our horizon. So I always believe we got to do what we're called to do and then just let everything fly. So I'm really excited, Keith, to work with you. We have the same mindset and passion for helping people. And I'm really excited about the next program because I really want to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Zoom link, and I'm going to send it to all the stroke groups on Facebook, and so everybody can zoom in, and we could really have a major discussion with people, about how they're feeling. Because when I'm on the women's group, or I always hear like, do you cry all the time, or my leg isn't working, or and everybody's so wonderful, like, no, you're doing a great job, you're walking better. And I saw you said something to someone as well just recently. I forget what it was. I saw you commented on a stroke stroke survivor Facebook. Yeah, so so we're all doing the same thing. We're all doing the same thing.
Right, and it almost doesn't. We're not going to have the answer for everybody all the time. And the one thing I will say is I'm, you and I both, I know, but we're just real. We're just going to be people, and we're just going to answer the best we can. And if we can't, we won't. But that doesn't mean we won't work to find the answer either.
Yeah, and that's, I never claim, the furthest thing I am is from being a doctor. That's the furthest thing. Talk about a doctor. I am not a doctor. I know doctors, and they're wonderful, but I am not a doctor. My sister's the medical one in our family, and my daughter Samantha. But so but we what we do is we do network to get answers for people, or just connect them to the right people. And exactly. The American Stroke Association is a wonderful avenue for a lot of answers. If you need any answers, always go to the American Stroke Association, because they do wonderful work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, great.
Yay! Our first one complete. Yeah. So everyone, say bye to everyone. Then I'll close out.
All right. Well, thank you, Renee, for having me on here. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to doing some stuff together. And I'll be a little more prepared on some of my modules next time.
Well, yeah, but you asked Judy. I always ask the wrong questions.
There's so much in there, and it's most of them are fairly deep, and so for me to memorize the whole thing, I just can't do it. So. Well,
you got to laugh, because when we used to go to the studio, and I'm sure she does it at home, Judy, I'd always I would think of a question and ask her, and she's like, I don't have that. So now she has papers all over the desk. Okay, Renee, whatever you want, ask me, because I have everything ready for you. She would go.
You almost sounded just like her when you said that.
She's so funny. She goes, Renee, she's always asking me questions. I can't, and I blame it on myself, because I just say, well, God just asked me a question. I'm just reiterating it. You don't have to answer it. She always tries. She's so pleasing, and she's so supportive, that she wants to, be there and help me with everything and anything. But she's so funny. So funny.
Yeah. So all right. Well, appreciate you.
Thank you, Keith. It was a pleasure. I just want to close out with everybody. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're the blessed ones, and I hope that we brought you some hope and some answers and curiosity of this program, and really keep joining us every Wednesday, the first and third Wednesday of the month. If you have any questions, of course, you could Facebook us or email us or tweet us, or whatever you want to do to let us know that you're around. Please share this with everybody. I don't see the numbers of who's following us, who's watching. I have to see the Zoom that we're zooming into Facebook. I don't know how that operates. But we're really excited to have this platform. Zoom and Facebook Live and YouTube Live is just an incredible network to have, so that we could spread the hope and the joy to everybody. So we're really blessed. And as Ellen always says, be kind to everyone. I know she's going through a tough time now, but her words always ring into my ear, to be kind to one another, love people through it, have empathy, remember, this is the last words in my book, is life is a gift. So think of it as a gift and always value it. Don't ever waste one single moment of your life.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you so much.
bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you in 2 weeks. Well, I'll be on Sunday. I got my show on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll see you later.
The deepest cuts